Hey, it's Lee for On Your Marks Wrestling, and this is take 2 of my Smackdown review for April 10th, 2018, the Smackdown after WrestleMania. For some reason, my camera just shut down right when I was about to finish my last video, and I'm quite frustrated with it. So we start the show. Shane McMahon comes out. He kind of talks about last night, and then he announces that he's accepted the resignation of Daniel Bryan. He also announces that Paige is the new general manager of SmackDown, and that was a well received. Paige gets "You Deserve It" chance, and she seems to be quite happy. And then she announces that she set up a match between Daniel Bryan, and she kind of teases it for a little too long, but eventually she tells you, and AJ Styles, and that's cool. Then we get a match that we've seen about a million times, but that's fine. It's the Usos versus New Day. Nothing really special here. Big E does do his crazy dive. There's a few little things in between. Eventually, the Usos escape the midnight hour, and they manage to super kick Xavier and splash him for the win. After the match, the Bludgeon Brothers basically kind of just pop out and do the whole intimidation spot thing from the ramp. This match was to face the Bludgeon Brothers at the Saudi Arabia show, so it did have some implications with the Bludgeon Brothers. They didn't come out for no reason. Then we have Naomi in the back being interviewed about her win in the Battle Royal. Natty says that her Twitter blew up with people complaining about Naomi being kind of appealing to the 7th grade crowd and that she didn't deserve to win. Naomi's angry, so she challenges Natty to a match. That match comes after the commercial. There isn't much to this match. I did write about one move, which is the slingshot leg drop that Naomi does. I said, I love the move, but I hate the contrived setup. She could do it just to someone who's a downed opponent. There's a sit-out powerbomb on Natalya. It's probably her best looking move, in my opinion. There's an enziguri and a split-legged moonsault from Naomi, and she gets the win out of that. Then we have Renee in the back, and she finds Shinsuke Nakamura, and she interviews him and asks him why he attacked AJ that way. And Nakamura has kind of a little bit of a smile on his face. It's hard to say. And he says that he doesn't know why he did it. Maybe he just got a little emotional or something. And then he winks. And it's the perfect amount of dickish. It's great. And then Renee calls him out on that, says he's being disingenuous. And he says, "Me no speak English," or something along those lines, and just kind of walks out. It was by far the best little promo he's done in a while. It was one of the better promos I've seen this year. I loved everything about it. The tone was perfect. His delivery was perfect. His facial movements. I was kind of debating why they turned him, but I know he's done it at New Japan, but he clearly can do it in English too, because this was perfect. I thought this was great. Then we have Charlotte comes up to the ring, and she's talking about her WrestleMania match with Asuka. Says how great it was, and it felt like magic, and praises Asuka. And then probably the biggest, I don't want to say surprise, but most important moment of the night, the iconic duo show up. We've been waiting for them for a long time. Everybody thought they were coming down last pay-per-views, but they're finally there. They cut some decent promos. They basically said, it was magic last night. We're actually wizards. We're going to make your title belt disappear. They also kind of did a little comedy thing in the ring where Peyton Royce mimicked Charlotte, but didn't really mimic Charlotte. I don't know. I didn't like it, but eventually they got to some pretty cool lines. They said something along the lines of, "Why are you talking about a match that happened in the past when the present and future is staring right at you?" Thought that was great. And then they actually start beating down Charlotte. They attack her, and they really, really beat her down. And the crowd is kind of anticipating Carmella to come in, so they start chanting Carmella. It doesn't happen, so the iconic duo just keeps beating up Charlotte, and they just don't stop, and they go for a while. It's a pretty good beating. Charlotte is completely down. They finally kind of leave the ring after posing for a while. They go up the ramp when they're about halfway up the ramp, or almost 3/4 of the way up the ramp. That's when Carmella's music comes on. Crowd goes nuts. Carmella runs into the ring. The ref really fakes not understanding what a cash-in is. And it's Mike Chioda, who's been there for about 100 years. I hate that they do it every time for like 10, 20 seconds. But in this case, he literally like pretended not understanding for a minute. And there was no purpose to it. Because ultimately, the match does get started. Carmella super kicks her and wins the title. So you kind of bury the ref, and I don't like that in that case. Carmella gets the win. She's elated. It's fine. It's good. It does kind of cheapen the loss, Asuka's loss at WrestleMania, doesn't it? You have this person who finally ends the streak, and she loses the belt the next day. And granted, she was beaten up, and it makes sense, but I don't know. I didn't like that decision at WrestleMania. This was not as bad, but just throwing it out there. So then we get Orton versus Rude versus Rusev, and Jinder is at ringside, but not on commentary. Not much of an intro from Aiden English compared to usual. The match is for a U.S. title shot at Backlash. The match is kind of lame. The only kind of notable spots I remembered were Orton did his backdrop onto the announce table to Rusev. Later on, Rusev did the exact same thing to Orton, which was kind of cool. Near the end, Rusev is kind of looking like he might win because he hits a kick and then puts the accolade on Rude. But Orton comes in and he breaks it up. Eventually kind of knocks Rusev out of the ring and hits Rude with a RKO and gets the win. So it's going to be Mahal versus Orton. Whatever. Then we have Dasha in the back, and she's interviewing Carmella. Carmella's saying, this and her Money in the Bank win, where she has one person to thank for it, herself. She did it all by herself, which we know is not true because she used to have, James Ellsworth. And then in this case, the Iconic Duo did a lot of damage. All right, let's flip over the notes. We have a Renee interview with AJ Styles, says that he's angry with Nakamura, obviously, but his focus is on Daniel Bryan. And then we get the final match of the night, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. You get the greatest hits from both. The phenomenal forearm to the outside. Bryan drop kicks, yes kicks. Eventually hurts his knee a little bit, which becomes a little bit part of the story. Styles hits his backflip reverse DDT, which is probably his nicest looking move. I don't know why it's not a finisher. Then there's a double underhook into an armbar by Bryan, and it goes into this nice transition where there's a switch to a calf crusher, back to an armbar. Later on, there's an attempted flying knee by Bryan, which is turned into a Styles Clash, but not quite. And then that's converted into a yes lock, so there's a lot of reversals going on. Bryan tries a corner suplex thing, like a back suplex off the corner, but Styles kind of twists it and lands on Bryan's face. So they both kind of end up out of it a little bit. And that's when Nakamura comes in. He Kinshasas Bryan to the back of the head. And then he low blows AJ Styles, Kinshasas him, and low blows him again to just really go full out heel. Crowd hates him. It's perfect ending. I thought this was a pretty good episode. In ring, I was kind of hoping for a few more surprises in terms of call-ups and stuff like that, but I can live with it. I would give this episode probably a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I don't know why. I was just really anticipating another call-up, so maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm odd. All right, thanks for watching. I will have another SmackDown review next week, but if you stay tuned, there will be a review of 205 Live, I believe, and maybe Ring of Honor. It's kind of weird. I just realized that it's 1 week late, so we'll figure it out. All right, thanks for watching.